They're not winning again without KD. That train ride is over.
Man, we are light years away from the Warriors being light years ahead of the whole rest of the league. The hell you doing, Bob Myers?
You know what? I hate to say this right now, but to be honest with you, I don't see the Golden State Warriors bringing home another championship.
The Warriors, everybody's talking about, the only way they were a dynasty is because KD showed up.
No, they're not.
And it's over. The Golden State Warriors return to a familiar place. They're on top of the NBA world. The fourth title in 8 years. The Dubs dynasty is still very much alive.
So, they've done it again. The Golden State Warriors, just 2 years removed from being the worst team in the NBA, have found themselves back at the mountaintops as they raised their fourth championship within the last 8 years. A feat in and of itself that would easily make this one of the most impressive dynasties the league has ever seen, but more importantly, an accomplishment that finally puts to rest several narratives that have been placed upon this team unnecessarily. Now, I can understand that some people can have their doubts and hesitations. However, these beliefs and concepts that many people were pushing over the past 2 to 3 years, that the Warriors would never win a championship again, that they would never be able to compete at the highest level, that they somehow from a franchise level have made several mistakes, to me was idiotic. I've never seen a team that has been this successful within this short amount of time have so many harsh criticisms thrown their way. Now, I get it. You're definitely going to hear enough of this underdog talk from Draymond Green and Warriors fans on social media for the next several months now.
Hey, everybody, shut up!
But honestly, I don't think that they're wrong in having their victory lap. This was a team that was doubted as if they were this young, up-and-coming roster that had never proven themselves, or as if like this team was constructed in the offseason and it was hard to comprehend their true potential because of chemistry problems. As if like this team hasn't been the most successful franchise in the NBA for the last 8 years. With a win percentage of 68.2% within the last 8 years, the Warriors are so far ahead of the pack that the margin between them and the second best team within that same span, the Toronto Raptors, is 5%. Claiming that the Golden State Warriors would have never won a championship again, or claiming that they made horrible decisions, was literally picking against history. And the only time that happens is when people start to buy into narratives.
If Kevin Durant don't go to Golden State, do they win 2 more championships? That's the question you have to ask yourself.
It is amazing to me that I have to sit here and take the time out and explain this to people, but I guess just briefly, how is it possible that a team that went to 2 finals appearances, won a championship, and in the process beat Kevin Durant en route to another finals appearance somehow needs Kevin Durant? That literally makes no sense to me whatsoever. But what's even more concerning is that you didn't even have to wait until KD left this team to prove that they didn't need him. The Warriors were still a competent team when Kevin Durant was having off nights or he was on the bench, or even during games where he just didn't play at all. Golden State actually went on a 13-game winning streak at the end of the 2017 season without Kevin Durant. This is the same Warriors team that closed the Houston Rockets out in 2019 in Game 6 without Kevin Durant. They then proceeded to sweep the Portland Trailblazers in the Western Conference Finals without Kevin Durant. So again, this idea that they needed him to get to the finals or win a championship, I never understood that at all. Or at least I can somewhat understand it if it's based in another narrative, and that is,
can they overcome LeBron James? I don't believe so. I believe they went and got Kevin Durant because they knew they needed Kevin Durant to get past LeBron James.
Now, to many people, this may come across as sound logic. LeBron was able to push the Warriors to 6 games without Kyrie and Kevin Love, and in the following year, when they were both healthy, they ended up winning the series. Now, again, on the surface, makes a lot of sense, but for you to then come to the conclusion that the Cavaliers are just so much far ahead of the Warriors, it makes no sense to me, because the series still got pushed to 7 games. If they won the series in 5 or 4 games, understandably so, but when a series gets pushed to 7 games and it takes literally one of the greatest shots and blocks in NBA history for the Cavaliers to win Game 7 by 4 points, that means literally the gap between the Cavs and Warriors in 2016 was not that wide. They were fairly equal teams. Slight improvements, adjustments, players being healthy, or just performing better could have easily changed the outcome of that series. So no, it would not have been that hard for me to believe at all if in the following year, the Warriors came back and ended up beating the Cavaliers, because that's how close they were to winning in 2016. But instead, people just jump to these conclusions and claiming that they needed Kevin Durant, that the upgrade, a needed one from Harrison Barnes, to KD was a difference maker, when the reality is that's just not true. Again, an upgrade from Harrison Barnes was needed, but they didn't have to go from the extreme of Harrison Barnes all the way to a Kevin Durant. They could have just got a player somewhere in between, which is the reason why this lie doesn't make any sense to me either.
Do you think the Golden State Warriors dynasty is over?
The answer to that is obviously and unequivocally yes. The day after the Warriors forfeited their one real ability to add another star when they traded D'Angelo Russell in order to get Andrew Wiggins and a pick, that we would never see Steph Curry in the finals again.
Now, I want to be very careful in this segment of the video because I don't want to be disingenuous with what I'm about to say next. When people were critical of the Andrew Wiggins trade at the time, 2 years ago, I thoroughly understand where some of that comes from. Wiggins was grossly overpaid, was an inefficient volume scorer, and was supposed to be the face of a franchise and had fallen very, very far away from that mark. So yes, it was fair to be critical of the Warriors at that time, and to try to rewrite history does a massive disservice to Andrew Wiggins, because a part of his story are the massive changes that he made to his game to make sure he can become a winning player. So people trying to rewrite history just to have an I got you moment, I don't believe is fair. However, what I do believe to be a bit outrageous is that the Warriors needed to trade Wiggins or D'Angelo Russell and the draft picks that they had to go get another star, which in my opinion is the biggest reason why Nick Wright looks foolish. This belief that the Warriors desperately needed another star alongside Curry to win a championship or even compete for one is ridiculous when once more they made it to the finals twice with Harrison Barnes. So all Wiggins had to be is a slight improvement from Barnes, and the Warriors should have clearly been favored to win another championship. And if you actually go back and look at how poorly Harrison Barnes played in both of the 2015 and 2016 finals, you would realize that the bar wasn't set that high for Wiggins at all. But the part of this segment for Nick Wright that really blows me away, and for whatever reason people consistently overlook it, is this lie that he tells that young players never help teams win playoff games.
Man, young players do not help you in the playoffs unless you're the Raptors.
If you actually know basketball history, how could you ever say that? Kevin McHale was a rookie in 1981 coming off the bench when they won that championship. Horace Grant was in year 4 in 91 when the Bulls won their first chip. Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili won their first championships as rookies and sophomores. Kawhi Leonard was in year 3 when he won Finals MVP. Both Byron Scott and James Worthy were in the beginning of their careers when they won their first championship. And ironically enough, Draymond Green was in year 3 in the first season as a starter when he won his first championship in 2015. Nick Wright is just lying. Throughout NBA history, there have been young players to contribute on championship rosters, especially the ones that played for dynasties. You are lying. But yet that still wasn't the most disrespectful thing, because we haven't even talked about the lies told about Stephen Curry.
He still hasn't had that that kind of big put the team on your back in the finals moment.
Now, I can make a whole video debunking several lies that have been told about Stephen Curry over the past several years. However, the one lie that consistently is being told about Stephen Curry and just needs to stop is this idea that Steph Curry is this bad playoff performer, or you just can't trust him in big moments, which is not only a massive lie, but utterly disrespectful to one of the greatest players to ever touch a basketball. We are talking about someone who averages 26 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, a steal and a half on 59 true shooting in the finals, and that's what Curry was averaging heading into this year's finals. We're talking about someone who people constantly push this narrative that he is a front runner, that he only performs when his team is up, when that is utterly incorrect. Not only have the Warriors been down and eventually won more series than any other team in the NBA since 2015, but Curry also performed miraculously in every single situation. Or how about this belief that Curry's never had a great finals game? This ideology was perpetuated even this year after Curry had a miraculous game 4. Definitely don't want to take nothing away from him because he was sensational. But the very next day, people were acting as if like, this is the first time Curry's ever done it. He finally did it. Oh my God, he was spectacular. But that's not the case. Game 5, 2015 finals, Curry scored 37 points. In the fourth quarter, the game was tied 75 apiece. Curry then gets subbed in and then proceeds to score 17 points in the last 10 minutes in the fourth quarter to give his team the victory. So to say that he's never had a great finals game in his life is lying. FYI, that performance made Curry one of only 5 players in the last 25 years to score 17 points in the fourth quarter of a finals game. Shaq did it, Kevin Durant and Westbrook did it, of course Curry did it, and the other player is Stephen Curry again. Curry not only scored 17 points in the fourth quarter of Game 5, but he did it again in Game 3 in the 2015 finals. Curry did it twice in the same finals that people act as if like he didn't perform well in. Again, doesn't make any sense. And the fact that us as an NBA community has been allowing this lie to be perpetuated for several years now is disgusting. Curry is an exceptional postseason performer. You cannot get to that many finals with or without Kevin Durant if you didn't show up in big moments, especially when we're talking about a player who's been on a team who's been down in several series or been down in double digits by several games and has had to deal with adversity throughout his entire career. And I'm happy that Curry has given us more examples to continue to debunk this narrative. But see, that's the problem. The Golden State Warriors is a franchise that has amounted a level of success to where they shouldn't have to prove anything or debunk narratives that many people have perpetuated over the past several years. A franchise that has been led by a trio that has been so dominant, so revolutionary, so outrageously successful that it would be laughable if I were to compare them to any other team in the NBA. In the 6 years since 2015, in which Curry, Dre, or Clay have played at least one regular season game, the Warriors have amounted 375 regular season wins, a mark so high that 13 teams in the NBA have not been able to eclipse it in the last 10 years. A level of success that is so incomprehensible that if you were to pick the best 6 years in many franchises' history, that they still would not be able to amount to that level of success when you look at their win percentages. So the only way that we can truly assess that level of success is if we were to look at the best 6 years of other previous dynasties. And yes, this includes the best 6 years of the Bill Russell Boston Celtics, the best 6 years of the Showtime Lakers, the best 6 years of the Bird, McHale, and Parrish Celtics, the best 6 years of the Pippen and Jordan Bulls, the best 6 years of the Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili Spurs. And when you start to do so, you realize that the Warriors' win percentage is on par with every other all-time great dynasty. And when you start to look at it through that scope, it really helps contextualize how silly some of these narratives have been. But hey, those are just my thoughts. Please let me know what you think about the video in the comment section below. Also, check out my second channel. I'm going to be discussing where Steph Curry ranks all time, as well as a couple of other rumors, because the NBA offseason is right around the corner. There's already some crazy stories being told, so make sure you go check out my second channel. And also, if you do want to catch up on this channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. And until next time, I'll see you all later. Peace.